The grand hall of Valoria was filled with 1,000 murmurs. Silver pillars reached toward the crystal dome above, where stars shimmered like scattered jewels across the void. Every noble house of the Lutheri Empire stood arrayed in ceremonial splendor, robes of woven starlight, skin adorned with luminescent markings, eyes that glowed faintly in the dark. And somewhere in the back, adjusting the collar of his borrowed uniform, stood me, Captain David Wren, one of only 3 humans invited to the Imperial gathering. I had spent 5 years stationed in Lutheri space, serving as an envoy and technical advisor. Humanity's sudden rise from isolation had startled the galaxy, but it was our stubborn resilience that earned us a cautious place among the stars. Still, I wasn't supposed to be here tonight. Not in this hall, not in the presence of Empress Solène and her court. But fate, or misfortune, had a cruel sense of humor. The ceremony was meant to formalize an alliance between the Lutheri Empire and the Thalreen Consortium. A political marriage between Princess Kilira, firstborn of Solène, and Lord Valek of the Thalreen, would seal the treaty. 2 great powers bound by union. And I was simply supposed to observe. Nothing more. Yet when Princess Kilira entered the hall, the air shifted. She was taller than most humans, her silver-blue skin glowing faintly against the gown of woven crystal that clung to her frame. Her hair, white as snow but streaked with iridescent violet, cascaded down her back. She carried herself like a warrior, because she was one. I remembered Kilira from the border campaigns 3 years ago. She had led her fleet into the same storm that nearly destroyed mine. We had fought side by side against raiders. She had once pulled me from the wreckage of my burning shuttle. That memory had never left me. Her luminous eyes swept the hall, and then, inexplicably, impossibly, they found mine. The ceremony began. High Chancellor Valek stood proud, his reptilian scales gleaming under the starlight. He offered his hand to Kilira, and the entire hall leaned forward, expecting the ritual bond to begin. But instead, Kilira's voice cut through the silence. "I refuse." The word echoed like thunder. Nobles gasped. Ministers choked. Even the Empress herself tilted her head, stunned. Kilira lifted her chin. Her gaze never left me as she spoke the next words, words that would fracture the galaxy's order. "I wish you were my husband, human." The hall froze. Every pair of alien eyes turned toward me. I felt my throat close, my lungs betray me. Kilira had spoken her heart in front of her mother, her empire, her enemies. The silence shattered in a storm of outrage. "Blasphemy!" one noble shouted. "She insults the empire," hissed another. "The princess cannot bind herself to a lesser species." I wanted to vanish. My legs felt like stone. Yet Kilira stood calm, radiant, defiant. Empress Solène's voice, cool as winter steel, silenced the chaos. "Daughter, explain." Kilira stepped forward, her gown trailing light across the floor. "I will not marry Valek. His people enslaved our outer colonies for centuries. This alliance is poison." Her voice sharpened. "And as for my words, yes, I spoke them true. David Wren, the human, is worth more than any lord in this hall." My heart thundered so loud I thought it would burst. The beginning of fire. I hadn't come to Valoria to start a revolution. But Kilira's confession lit a fire that spread through the empire overnight. After the hall descended into chaos, guards had escorted me under protective custody. Kilira disappeared into the Empress's chambers. Rumors spiraled. Some said I had bewitched her. Others whispered she'd lost her mind. But the truth was simpler. Kilira sought me out later, in the quiet of the Imperial Gardens. She wore no crown, no gown, Just the armor I remembered from the campaigns. You're probably furious with me, she said softly. Furious? Try terrified. Forced a laugh. You just told your entire empire you want to marry me. That's not exactly safe. Her glowing eyes softened. I don't care about safe. Care about true. You saw me when others only saw a title. You fought beside me when others bowed. Do you understand, David? In this empire, truth is rarer than stars. I swallowed hard. Lyra. I'm human. I'm no prince, no emperor. Just a soldier. She smiled faintly. That is exactly why. The middle, shadows of betrayal. The Empress called for counsel. 4 days. Debates raged across Valoria. Some nobles demanded Kilira's exile. Others whispered of civil war. The Thalreen threatened to break negotiations, raising their fleets along the border. And I was caught in the storm. Interrogators questioned me, searching for signs of manipulation. Was I a spy? A seducer? Had I used forbidden human tricks to win her? Every answer I gave only deepened their suspicion. But Kilira never wavered. She appeared before the Senate, standing tall against centuries of prejudice. Humans, she declared, are not lesser. They are proof of resilience. They are what we once were before decadence made us weak. Her speeches lit fires in the hearts of younger Lutheri. A movement stirred, one that challenged the Empire's arrogance. And in the shadows, danger grew. Assassins struck one night, slipping past guards. Kilira and I fought them together, back to back in the dark corridors of the palace. She moved with lethal grace, her energy blade singing through the air. I fought with the brutal efficiency of Earth's close-quarters combat. When the last assassin fell, Kilira's hand lingered in mine. They will not stop, she whispered. They never do, I answered. The storm breaks. The Thalreen made their move. Declaring the alliance broken, they launched fleets against the border worlds. Valoria trembled. Nobles accused Kilira of dooming the empire. Civil unrest spread like wildfire. And yet, in crisis, something extraordinary happened. Kilira was given command of the defense fleet. Against her mother's cautious orders, she asked me to serve as her advisor. Your people think differently, she said. You see what we overlook. Together, we planned strategies that blended human unpredictability with Lutheri precision. We turned asteroid fields into ambush zones. We feigned retreats that became traps. For every world threatened, we found a way to shield it. But the war's turning point came at the Battle of Sindral's Vale. The Thalreen unleashed a super-dreadnought, a monster of a ship capable of tearing through fleets. Kilira's forces faltered. All seemed lost. And then she turned to me. What would a human do? I thought of Earth's long history of desperate gambits, of fighting wars against impossible odds. And I gave her the only answer I knew. We hit it head-on. No retreat. No hesitation. Her eyes gleamed with fire. Then ride with me. Side by side, our ships dove into the storm. Kilira's flagship spearheaded the charge, mine at her flank. Against impossible odds, we broke through the dreadnought's shields, boarded its core, and set its reactor to overload. The explosion lit the void like a newborn star. Sindral's Vale was saved. And when the news spread, the galaxy saw not just a princess, but a warrior who defied tradition with a human at her side. The proper ending. Weeks later, peace was negotiated, not through arranged marriage, but through strength and respect. The Thalreen withdrew, unwilling to face Kilira again.